Does your child or student have an IEP or you think they need one? Then you've come to the right place. If they have special education or they need it and your school is going to propose a change or you want them to and they say no, then you need to know about prior written notice. That's why inside this video, I'm going to show you what prior written notice is and go inside your notice to reveal the 7 parts so you can advocate like a pro. Hey, what's up? I'm April Rarick, your special education advocate to make IEPs and 504 plans so much easier. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox and follow us on Instagram at Rise Ed Advocacy. Here's what you need to know about prior written notice, also known as PWN. If your child has special education or they need it, then we're going to be talking about an individual education plan, sometimes known as a program, also known as an IEP. If your child has or needs an IEP, then that means your school has federal and state provisions that they must follow under something called IDEA law. Here's the problem, is that so many times when your child needs a service or they're refused to get a service by your school, then prior written notice is at play. So what is prior written notice? Let me break it down. Prior written notice is when your school initiates a change or makes a suggestion for a change in the identification, evaluation, or placement of your child. Prior written notice also comes into play when you, the parent, request a change and the school says no. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that your school needs to send you prior, meaning before they do it, written, meaning it needs to be in writing, and notice, meaning they need to spell out what I'm about to tell you right now. So now you know what is prior written notice. We need to dive into parent IEP rights. That's exactly why I want you to check out my first free guide, Prior Written Notice, that breaks down the 7 parts that I'm about to dive in with you right now. Make sure to grab that link in the description box below. Speaking of IEP parent rights, make sure to watch this video next that lays out the 10 rights that you probably didn't even know you had and goes into detail on every single procedural safeguard so you can pull up a seat at the IEP table. Grab that link in the description box below. So now you know what prior written notice is. Let's go inside that written notification. Part 1. Your district must describe what they're proposing in terms of the action or they're refusing. What am I talking about? Pro tip. Let me give you an example. Your school needs to clarify exactly what they're going to do or not do when it comes to the identification, evaluation, or placement of your child. Remember we talked about earlier, if you say, hey, I would like this done, and they say no. Yep, that's the first part that needs to be inside that prior written notice. So it all comes down to knowing what to ask for and how to get it when it comes to written communication. That's exactly why I want you to check out my next free guide that spells out the 6 parts of written communication. So when you respond to the notice, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, that you have everything that you need and you can advocate like a pro. Grab that link in the description box below. This brings us to part 2 of your prior written notice. Your school must explain why. Why are they taking action or refusing to make a change? So now we know part 1 is what they're doing. Part 2 has to do with why. So here's the problem. Pro tip. When you pull up a seat at the IEP table and you're not fully prepped, meaning you walk into the IEP, whether you're a parent or a teacher, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many different papers. What do I ask for? How do I do it? That's exactly why I created something called the Meeting Toolkit. What's inside my digital guide? Inside my digital guide, it shows you and clarifies in terms of the difference between accommodations and modifications, all the different subtypes of accommodations, a prompt hierarchy, all those crazy acronyms and test scores when it comes to IDA law and standardized tests. Yep, I describe it there too. It shows you exactly how to feel more confident and gives you the words and gives you the tools. Make sure to grab that link to check it out in the description box below. So now we've talked about part 1, part 2. This brings us to part 3. Your school must describe every evaluation, assessment, report, IEP that they're using as the basis for their proposed or refused action. What am I saying? I'm saying that if your child has had a special education assessment, they've got to use that as the basis for their determination. So let me ask you something. Are you trying to get an IEP for your child and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult? Are you trying to get an IEP for your student and you're like, oh, this is so frustrating? That's exactly why I want you to check out How to Get an IEP, where I walk you through 5 easy steps so you can get the ball rolling and start the special education assessment process and get the high quality, comprehensive special education assessment that your child or student deserves. Grab the link in the description box below. This brings us to part 4. Your school must include a statement inside the prior written notice indicating that you, the parent, are protected under IDA law. Let me ask you something. When you asked for something and your school district said no, did they give you a prior written notice? When you were a teacher sitting at the table and you're like, oh my gosh, let's write it, and the school was like, no, we can't do it, did they give the prior written notice to the family? I've got a feeling that probably not. So make sure to put in the comments below your questions, share your story. Let's do this together and let's help kids thrive. Put in the links and put in the questions so that I can give you my favorite resources and we can help your child or your student get the best IEP that they need. This brings us to part 5. Your school must provide resources when it comes to who to contact at your school or your district to understand your IEP procedural safeguards. So what am I saying? I'm saying that when your school and district gives you the prior written notice, there must be information in terms of who you can talk to, their phone number, their email, all that good stuff, so that if you have a question, if you need more clarity on understanding your rights, they need to give you the right contact information. So let me ask you something. What do you do if your school says no in the middle of an IEP meeting? Make sure to check out my video about what to do if your school says no and gives you 3 tips that I use as a special education advocate all the time when I get those no's in the middle of an IEP meeting. It's one of my greatest assets in terms of an advocate because negotiation is part of the IEP process, and I want to give you all my tips and resources so you can negotiate like a pro. Grab that link in the description box below. This brings us to part 6. Your school must describe the other options that were considered and spell out the reasons why they were rejected. So let's talk about special education if you're an IEP parent. If you're a parent at the table, it is so frustrating because you walk into an IEP meeting and everybody else has the paperwork except for you. You don't feel like you're fully participating at the table. You don't feel like you're fully informed, which is exactly why you're watching this video right now. I've got a do-it-yourself IEP course called Parent Participation that walks you through how to communicate like a pro. It shows you how to craft what's called a parent letter of attachment, how to respond to prior written notice, how to request for a meeting, how to request for assessments, you name it. I walk you through it so you can fully participate at the table and you can feel more confident and more comfortable to get your child the IEP and the services that they deserve. Grab the link in the description box below. And here we are at part 7 inside your prior written notice. Your school must describe the relevant factors when it comes to their proposal or refusal. What am I talking about? Let me give you an example. Perhaps your child has been through the special education assessment before, and you get the assessment, you get the evaluation back, and you're like, I don't agree. Did your school give you prior written notice? Did they explain to you one of your procedural safeguards is called an independent educational evaluation, also known as an IEE? Yep, that's one of your procedural safeguards, and it's something that's really awesome in the video that I talked about earlier that I explain how exactly you can get. That's exactly why I'm so happy that you're watching this video, because together we're going to make it easier for kids to thrive and kids to get the best services. So pull up a seat at that IEP table. So now you know what is prior written notice and the 7 parts that you need to find inside the notice, whether you're a parent or a teacher. So let me ask you something. What have you experienced with prior written notice with your child or student? Put your comments and questions below, because I want to drop in the links to so many resources to make it easier for your journey at the IEP table. Do you want me to do another video or expand on more what I've talked about? Yep, put it there too. Make sure to subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox, and check out those links below so that you can pull up a seat at the table. Follow us on Instagram at RiseEdAdvocacy. I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate. I can't wait to see you for our next video.